Hello everyone, I'm here today with a new process video. I'm working on a double pager here in my train travels album. So this is a flip book and you can see how I have it laid out here. And this side I think will be fairly easy. We'll see if that pans out. But really I'm embellishing up top and then I need some kind of Carter background for this because I printed this as a horizontal 4x3 thinking, oh yeah, that's how I'm going to use it. And then when it came time to put this all together, I decided, no, I think I want this configuration. And that happens sometimes. And when I do that, it's always my preference to try to just work with what I've already printed, just so I'm not wasting ink and paper and stuff to reprint. However, I am willing to reprint something if it really, really isn't going to go. I think that may be what happens here. Again, I printed this as a 3x4, thinking it was going to be in a slot like this. Now I've decided, nope, I've got a full page over here. Well, this kind of looks tiny over here. And while I'm not going to print a 6x8 at home to fill this whole thing, I certainly could beef it up at least to a 4x6. So I am thinking about that. And even looking at it now, it just looks so blank. So I have a feeling that's what I'm going to end up doing, but we'll get to that. I think I'm going to start with this page first and just see what happens. In looking at this and how I wanted to design it, how I want it to look, I've already actually decided to make some changes. I feel like, yes, this says Winona Public Library, so it's clear where I was, but I feel like all of these colors are kind of blah, whereas in real life, this building was insanely beautiful. From the ceiling and all the old school book racks and things, the architecture. This isn't doing it any favors because this is the modernized part outside, whereas I was mainly in here. I've decided I don't like it. So I've gone into the Project Life app. I've dropped in 2 other photos that I'm going to use. So I turned this one on its side so I can make it vertical to get it to print. And then I'm actually going to include myself in a flip on here as well. So this one will actually be horizontal here to replace the other one I had. And look at all that color. Way better color than what I had going. And it looks better with this photo as well because there's some color on the books here that you can see. I just think it'll be a better fit. Then I can have a flip behind one of these with the other photo. And I am going to print this 4x6. Just already I can tell it's too small. I'm going to reprint. So I have reprinted this photo. I changed the color settings a little bit too. It was very dark and there was a yellow cast to it. And so I messed with it a little bit and edited it so it would be a little bit brighter. And then I decided to put a white border on it simply because then I don't have to matte with cardstock. And I'm sure I'm going to have a colored background here. So having the white border built in it's kind of a nice option that I don't have to mess with it. So now I'm just printing my smaller pictures that I needed, and once that's done, I'll have what I need. Well, sometimes it's trial and error, people. So when I printed this, I don't know if the camera will show it, but I zoomed in at this size to get this better framed in the photo, and it got pixely. You can kind of tell if you're looking, like it looks like it's been manipulated. So I'm not going to use this one. I'm going to print it as a 4x6. So now I'm probably going to end up filling this entire pocket, which is fine. I can just embellish or whatever. But sometimes, you make plans when you put albums together and think you know how it's going to go, and then it doesn't. You have to change. So luckily I have a printer at home where I can do that, and I'll just try again. All right, I reprinted that one, and I decided that since I put a white border on that one, I would do it on this one too and just see what I think of it. And actually, I really like it. I wasn't sure. I was like, oh, if I hate it, I can cut it off and put a color background on it. I don't mind it, but I do think whatever I use as the background here really needs to go. Like it needs to help the whole design, because otherwise this is kind of white on white. It washes out a little bit. So I was going to start over here. Now I've changed my mind. I think I'm going to try to find my background for what's happening on this side. I'm thinking maybe a green because there's this bright green here, but I also have kind of this aqua light blue color, same that's happening in the glass. So I don't know. I have several options, but I think maybe something in that vein will be helpful. Because those photos are kind of fancy, I decided to pull out some specialty papers that I have, as well as all my 6x8 papers that I have that came this way or that I already cut to 6x8, just to try to make it easier on myself. And I do love the idea of having something. Ooh, that's not bad, actually. Something, oh, I really like it with that. Ooh. Keep that as an option. Sorry, shiny thing, got distracted. I really think it should have maybe something special behind it. This is probably not the right color. I don't mind the color necessarily, but it's not the right pattern, I don't think. But I have options. So I'm going to go through these and just see what else might work here to get this right side going. I did decide to use this sheet of vellum. I love it. And yes, it's kind of wild pattern, but I don't think it's that distracting here. So I used it. I also placed this with a little more room on the left side because I'm hoping to embellish. I want something there because otherwise it feels like it's too blank around the page. But because that was an 8x8 piece of paper, I still have a 2x8 strip left too that I can use over here. So I may cut a piece off and like lay it hanging off the edge or something and then embellish on that. I may cut this photo down and use this like as a border because frankly, when you're looking at this, hello, the ceiling, kind of ugly. I could totally cut that off, still have a decent photo, plus use the vellum. Since I knew that I was using a flip anyway, I decided to just start putting that together. So I did cut off that ugly top part, don't need it, and I've put it on the front of the flip. And then I also cut pieces of the vellum that I had because I think what I'm going to do is actually just kind of cover the top and maybe the bottom. I'm not sure. I could stamp down there if I leave it white. Not sure on that, but I'm at least going to cover the top, and then that way this paper is kind of consistent across the pages, which I do like, and it adds just a nice little pop of that blue color in there. So I'm going to start with that and then go from there. So I have gotten really lucky here. I realized, this is vellum. I can't put adhesive behind it because you'll see it. And I thought, well, I'll put a little bit over here and then I'll make sure I have an embellishment there of some kind to cover it up. Guess what? Because of the color and the pattern in this, you can't really even see it. There's some here, and here you can see a tiny bit if you look really hard, but it might look like it's just part of the paper. So I have lucked out with that. So happy that I can have that totally just set down and not worry about it. And then I can move on to doing some embellishing. I do happen to have quite a bit of things related to books and reading. I actually used to do a traveler's notebook about the books I read, and I really missed that. I haven't done it in a couple years now, but it was just, I had too many projects, so I had to let something go. But I did keep my book stamps and a lot of the embellishments that I had, and I found this sheet of stickers. And I'm really liking these 3 because I think I can make those colors work with what I've got. Because on the inside of the flip, the photo of me, I'm wearing a pink shirt, and there's pink in here. So I think one of these I can use here, the other one I'll use somewhere else, and then possibly this one I can use here. Oh, actually, you know what? Totally recommend this. I'm sure that was meant to be about a book, but what if I used it here somewhere? Could I put that over here? As in, I recommend coming to visit this, which I do. It was glorious. I'll have to play around, but these have been sitting in my stash for a while. I would love to be able to use some of them on this layout. So I have more of this put together. I decided to add that sticker right here on the bottom to overlap. And then the inside I have me. And then I found the perfect pocket card to go here. I love what it says, and it's very true. I love the written word. So this definitely works for me. I do think that I'm going to end up not using this plot twist one. I held it up to this and they're not the same pink. I don't like it. So I'm not going to use it here. I stuck it back on there. I'll use it for something else. But I am going to use this one over here. So I'll have that. And then I've decided to use some of these wooden stars. I have them. They've been in my stash forever. I need to use them. So I think I'm going to put a smaller one in here since there are already some stars on there, just as an embellishment for the inside. And then along with the sticker somewhere over here, I'm going to add one of these. I have the flip fully put together, and I did realize I forgot to add a little tab to indicate that you need to lift this up. So I did make one there. I just lifted up the bottom of the sticker, stuck that underneath, pressed it down, put a little adhesive, and it's good to go. So now when you open it, that's what you see. I have the little star on there too, so that whole flip is done. I think I'm gonna have to put a little more adhesive right here though, because this little corner keeps popping up. So I'll make sure I fix that. But I think this side is done. I thought maybe I was gonna do something down here, but I think I'm just gonna leave this photo because this paper on the other side is so bold. And then I have this other sticker that I wanted to use that says totally recommend this. So I think because this is upper left, maybe I'll do this over on the lower, just so it's more of a diagonal. So maybe about here. I don't want to cut off the ceiling part, so let's do that right in between those. Then you don't really lose anything here or here. And then which star could I do? This, I have an open one under here, so I could do that just to add a little more weight. Oh yeah, I don't like that. I think I'll do this one. All right, I have everything in the pockets here, and this is not at all how I thought this was going to turn out when I started, but I really like it. So happy accident, I guess, that I ended up having to fix a bunch of things and make changes, because in the end, I like it. So here's another one done for my train travels. Thanks for watching.